Welcome back, viewers and podcast listeners. Thank you for tuning in at X-Rays, where knowledge meets inspiration in the intricate dance of industry evolution. My name is Miles, and I'm your host for today's episode, which is for all the high achievers, go-getters, and relentless hustlers out there. Yes, you, the ones who wear exhaustions like as if it's a badge of honor. But here's the million-dollar question. Is burning out really the way to succeed? Or is there a better way? One that lets you perform at your peak without crashing and burning? And to give us a clear and helpful answers to these questions, we've invited back one of our favorites. She's an award-winning recovery consultant, a sought-after professional speaker, and the mastermind behind the 7-step recovery code system, which has helped countless high performers break free from addiction, burnout, and self-sabotage. Our guest has worked with top athletes, BAFTA and Emmy Award winners, and executives who seem to have it all except inner balance. She firmly believes in flow over force, in unlocking energy rather than depleting it. And today, we're diving deep into how you can shift from a hustle culture that trains you to a flow state that fuels you. I hope you guys are ready for Dr. Alabunmi Abuaba. Hello, Dr. Alabunmi.
You.
How are you?
Thank you, Miles. Yeah, I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Welcome back to X-Rays, my dear Dr. Olabunmi. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming back.
Thanks.
So let's start with the elephant in the room. Burnout. In high performance circles, grinding until you drop is almost an accolade. Why do so many high achievers fall into this cycle? And what toll does it take on their mental and physical well-being?
Yeah. So burnout is more than just, chronic stress. It is way beyond that. That's when the body system starts to really break down. Now, when I'm kind of going back into research, many high performers do come from backgrounds which are their childhood needs aren't met. Maybe their parents were results driven, so it was always focused on results, or they had family traumas where they had to get out, and do very, very well. They needed to get out of their circumstances and better themselves. So there's an awful lot of drive in high performers. And yet it is one like a badge of honor. It's like, get on, let's get going. And we need to just be on all the
Mhm.
time. Grind, hustle, hustle, because they have that kind of previous experience in childhood, we have to perform to get out to better ourselves. So many
Mhm.
high performers do come from those kind of backgrounds. And it's the on culture. We're always on. We don't switch off. And we have a society now which is 24/7. So it's working those extra hours. It's working till 3 o'clock in the morning, answering emails. I know one client of mine, he sent off an email at 2 o'clock in the morning and he got an email back at 2:30. It's just that crazy, just go, go, go. We're going to do better and better and better. But now it's at what cost? And we're looking at, for instance, 75% of founders are experiencing chronic stress. 36% of CEOs, founders, are experiencing burnout, and 10% are panic attacks. So it is now, it's not getting any worse. It's not getting any better. Despite all the information that's out there, burnout is actually getting worse. So it's always this feeling to be on all the time, and it we have to kind of stop it. It has to stop.
Yes. I have a question. Do these high performers, Dr. Ulubinmi, usually come from a particular generation or it's like a mixed up?
No, it's a mixture. It's a mixture
Mhm.
from your millennials to your boomers, and, your Gen Zs. Burnout
Mhm.
is right through. We have a culture that is 24/7 now. Everything is
Yeah.
on,
Uh-huh.
social media, digital devices, emails. We're just completely connected.
Uh,
So it's always going to be, if we're not careful, we're kind of sucked into that machine of just always working. But it's affecting our mental health, it's affecting our
I'm sure.
physical health.
Mhm.
So it's becoming detrimental. So
Yeah.
this is not the way that we can sustain how we work.
Mhm.
And I want that badge of honor to be kind of taken off because it's not productive.
Yes. Maybe because we're also constantly told that working harder equals success, but no one talks about the cost of
Yeah.
mentality until it's too late. right?
No, correct.
Mm.
Absolutely correct. And it was
And
always that was my, when I was growing up, it's like you got to work really hard, you got to work twice as hard as everybody else or 10
yeah.
times as hard. So it was always that drive to achieve, to be better than the next person.
Mhm.
Um, but that had a detriment effect on myself. And I remember waking up one
Yeah.
morning, busy clinic that day. And I remember sitting at the edge of my bed and just looking out the window and just looking vacantly. There was beautiful, it was a beautiful spring day. There was cherry blossoms out there, but I didn't notice it. I was
Mhm.
still in my pajamas and my kids were kind of tugging at my pajamas saying, Mummy, yeah, we're getting ready for school. And I couldn't move. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. I was absolutely done. I'd shut down. Physically, I'd shut down. Mentally, I'd shut down. And that was with me with 9 months off work
Mhm.
because I'd burnt out completely.
Yeah, and it affects the people around you as well.
Absolutely affects relationships, whether it's your working relationships, affects your kind of, home life. You start not to enjoy the things that you used to do with your family. You become very detached. It's
Mhm.
almost as though you're living in another world. And that's how I felt. And that's how many who experience burnout. It's almost like they're detached from life. They can't engage anymore because their body is so shut down.
Mhm.
The little stresses become massive stresses. So it is not a good place to be in.
Yes, it continually elevates. And I
Yeah.
remember, Dr. Lubumi, you also emphasized the flow state mentality as a powerful antidote to burnout. How does this
Yes.
mindset help high performers sustain their peak without hitting a wall?
Yeah. Well, as I said, if we're high performers, we're always going to have that wanting to succeed, wanting to be successful. We're not negating that at all, but we can do it in a smarter way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is with a bit of practice because we're always the adrenaline, we always want to get going and we want to get, yeah, all of this. So
Mm-hmm.
flow state is being in a state of flow is being in, what's the word? How would I say? You're just in the moment. You're in the moment and you are so focused on a particular task. It's almost like
It's more on the
time
focus.
stands still. Yeah, it's like the focus that time stands still, but you're enjoying what you're doing. So flow state is about achieving more, but with less energy. So you're more productive, but with less energy. So being in flow state, that I mean the real benefits of, being able to achieve that is number one, you're happier. It's kind of like time stands still. You're doing what you really love. Um, Time's flying by. You're not distracted by things, and you feel more focus, more clarity, and it's fulfilling. And then you're just
Yeah.
thinking, where has the time gone? I've actually managed to do this in less time and less energy. And it's done whatever the task is, the challenge is. Maybe it's art, maybe it's something creative, maybe it's something that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing at work, but it's been able to engage all of your senses to be able to get something done, be in the flow. Um, be in the zone, so to speak. So athletes can talk about being in flow, for instance, when they're, in a competition. Artists talk about being in flow. Creatives talk about being in flow. And it can be achieved, and great things can be achieved by being in flow. But it's the practice before that to be able to get in flow. You can't just do it. All of your life has to kind of come into balance first before you can start achieving that at work or at home or wherever you are.
Uh-huh. Well, that means it's like consuming your energy smartly
Yes,
rather than
definitely.
rather than fighting exhaustion. You're teaching people how to work with their energy the smarter and more efficient way and not against it.
Not against it. And so this is why we have to do a kind of a cleanup really,
Mm-hmm.
in our general lives, that once we can do that, clean up what's going on, then things do start to flow. Whatever you put your mind to, whatever tasks, whatever deadlines you have, is easier because every aspect of your life has been cleaned up. So, for instance, we talk about the first way to get into flow is something that I call having an energy audit. I call,
Uh-huh.
a weekly energy audit. So I ask people to really write everything down that they do, every single activity that you can think of, like say in the week, like for
Mhm.
7 days, write every single thing down. So have a piece of paper, put a line down the middle, and write down all the activities that drain you, on all the activities that fuel you, make you feel alive, make you feel, you could just keep doing this. It feels wonderful. Or just write everything down and then just put a tick against the things that fuel you and a cross against the things that really drain your energy. And it's all about energy, as I said, right through. Energy is so important that we have to manage our energy really, really well, especially in this time where we've got AI and we've got all these things happening that we have to
Mhm.
really manage our energy. So you start to tick off what drains you. Like, for instance, me, social media drains me.
Yeah.
You know, I find it very draining. So I will, for instance, in the day, maybe just look on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is for my business. I enjoy it's kind of positive posts,
Mhm.
inspirational posts. I can learn from the posts on LinkedIn. So I have chosen to just use LinkedIn. And I may look on LinkedIn and do some posting in the morning and
Mhm.
say, do, 10, 15 minutes, maybe read a few posts and connect with people because it's really good for my business. And that's me because I hate social media. I don't like Instagram. I do not like YouTube. I just horrible. It just drains me. So I recognize that if I'm on of those other social media platforms, that I'm going to feel drained. So I want to invite people to kind of start looking through their lives and say, what actually drains me? What actually fuels me? So fueling me, what I find passionate about is like, say, dancing or singing or you know, playing with crystals. I love my crystals, as you know. You
Mhm.
know, all of those things kind of give me a sense of, happiness,
Yeah.
fulfillment. So we need to start making, the checks and balances what drains us. Then
Mm.
we look at maybe one in the week. What actually drains me? Okay, I talked about social media. Other people might say, I don't know, walking the dog drains me or something. What we need to do when we find that draining energy is can we remove this problem from our lives, this issue, this drain, or can we minimize it? So I minimized mine, which was just going on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I can't remove it. I cannot not be on social media, but LinkedIn's is good, good for me. Then you start looking at the checks and balances and think, right, okay, so can I do more of what fuels me? Can I weave more of the things that I'm passionate about that give me
Mhm.
joy, make me feel light of heart into my day? So people can start to look at the patterns. What is draining me at the end? I feel exhausted. I've looked at 20 emails, in half an hour. I've got 100 emails to look at. It's draining. Do you need to have a look at 100 emails? 50 emails, you have to answer all of them. Or maybe, spend, your day doing, say, 5 or 10, and
Mhm.
maybe the next day. And I know it sounds like, well, I have all this, but you have to start drawing lines, having those limits, having those boundaries in the things that you do that drain you. So
Yeah.
it's about minimizing that and then just start to get a nice balance. You're feeling more vibrant. And then when you have tasks, you feel ready to
Mhm.
do those tasks because that energy now has been conserved to do the tasks that you need to do.
Yeah.
And and that's how I see it. It's like, your energy is important and it's very precious and it's limited. So let's spend it on the things that we want to do good work with, what we want to enjoy.
Mhm.
Then with peak performance, I really do look at the 4 pillars. So looking at the physical health, mental, emotional, and spiritual. These are the very, very basics of the having a flow state mentality is
Yes.
if your if your foundation isn't right, nothing else is going to work. So if you're not eating properly, you're not sleeping properly, you're not hydrating, you're not eating really good food, you're not moving your body, you're gonna start feeling it. So anything you do in work is going to feel harder because your body is not, at its optimum.
At
So,
its peak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a car, isn't it? The physical, is the engine, and if the
Mm-hmm.
engine's not working properly, then the whole car is not going to work properly. Or it's like having the GPS, your mental focus.
Mm-hmm.
If it's off, then you're going to be distracted,
Mm-hmm.
and your car's going to go all over the place and it's going to, lose petrol, eat up its petrol, diesel or whatever, and it's not going to go very far. So we have to think of ourselves as, really look after ourselves for that peak performance to be able to do the tasks that we need to do. So physically, making sure, as I said, you've eaten properly, you've hydrated, you're moving your body, whether it's, playing football or yoga, anything like that, just to kind
Yeah.
of really get that sense of grounding and balance. But then mentally, just making sure that you're learning new skills,
Mm-hmm.
to help you achieve these deadlines and start to enjoy what you do. And taking those breaks, you need to take breaks. You're not, working 24/7. You're not on full throttle all the time, and you can't be. So it's things like, having, good friends that surround you, kind of emotionally. You get that kind of emotional uplift from the people that surround you, good people that surround you, making sure that things like your journaling, just making sure that your emotional is balanced and harmonious, whether it's yoga or you
Yeah.
know meditation, mindfulness.
Yeah. And you have.
So really,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
really getting those basics right, getting the basics right. I've always said this, that
Mm-hmm.
everything else starts to work.
Yeah. So you really have to surround yourself with the people that who recharge you, not drain,
Yeah.
right?
Not drain you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So
And
surround yourself with really positive people. And also people are going to tell you point blank, you're working too hard, or can you just
mm-hmm.
slow down? You're not spending enough time with us, or, let's hang out. So, it's having somebody to help you with those checks and balances, and
Yes.
people who can be honest with you. Because the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing about I think the biggest factor in burnout is denial. It's like addiction. It's like a stress addiction, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's that's the biggest factor is denial. So a lot of people go, oh, just one more hour, or
Yeah.
I'll be back, I'll be coming back. But hey, I haven't seen you for, a couple of days. What are you doing? It's like, well, come on, let's come out, let's relax, let's do something. So
Mm-hmm.
denial is a big thing, and you start to isolate when you're burning out because you can't cope. So people don't know what's going on. So it's
Mm-hmm.
having good friends to surround you, that really are honest and kind of going, come on, let's do
Mm-hmm.
something else.
Mm-hmm. So what you're recommending is, especially people who are deep in the burnout spiral, is to take these first steps to achieving the flow state mentality. We better assess,
Yeah.
acknowledge, and not deny, and address the issues first, taking out the
Address the
unnecessary
issues.
stress, those activities that and people that are not really contributing real value, especially to our mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, it's just so important to get the balance with, for instance, friendships. You might have other friendships that are they just work as just as hard as you, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to work as hard, and I'm going to get this report done and get that and this off the ground. And sometimes it's nice to have a friend that's kind of more chilled.
Yes.
So it is interesting how, you respond and how you connect with people and how you kind of may mimic them or,
Mhm.
they're an influence on you. So it's all about getting the balance in your family, your friends, your physical, emotional, mental. Then things become easier. Things become
Uh-huh.
easier.
Also, essentially, before you optimize your output, you have to audit your input, they say.
Absolutely. Yeah. Optimize your
And
input. It's all about the inner work. It's all about the inner work and just
mhm.
knowing that we're human beings. We're not human doings. We're not meant to
Yeah.
just do. We're
Mhm.
meant to be. And you get a lot more done when you actually sit back more and have some space and some
Mhm.
time. And even if it's in the day, spend lunchtime, just go out for a walk, just 10 minutes, just
Mhm.
breathe and just connect with yourself and ground. You'll actually find, you're a lot more productive when you get back into the office or into the clinic or anything like
Yeah.
that. But I think we all think if we just do, it's
Yeah.
going to achieve. But what are you achieving at what cost? What is
Mhm.
the cost?
Yeah. Even robots need to charge. And right. And since you
Too
mentioned
funny.
about peak performance pillars, Dr. Olubunmi, the four core areas that help prevent burnout. Can you further break down those for us?
Yeah, so I mean, physically, as I talked about, was the physical, which is making sure you eat properly, you're moving your body, etc. Kind of emotionally, talked about, surrounding yourself with good people, making sure that you're journaling, making sure there's some meditation and mindfulness, just doing
Mm-hmm.
the things that really light you up, maybe some yoga, or you play five-a-side football or something, just emotionally that you're balanced and you're supported. When we're talking about the mental, as I said, I talk about a growth mindset. So if something is challenging, really challenging, right, rather than just burying yourself and just thinking, I'm going to do it and, come what may, really learn about that challenge,
Mm-hmm.
really start learning about it, study, um, challenge yourself to kind of make sure that you enjoy it. So a challenge in a flow state should be challenging, but not too challenging. So if something's
Mm-hmm.
too challenging, you know, confide in somebody, get some support from someone. Is how do I do this? Read about it, read around it. So it's not too much of a challenge. So the good thing about flow state is that it shouldn't be too challenging. It shouldn't be boring.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever task you have should have a challenge. That's what's going to get you focused, concentrating. You're enjoying it because it is a good challenge, a healthy challenge, rather. It's so challenging that you're stressed. If it's so challenging, that's when you get the help and you go, I just don't know how to do this. Can you show me? Or you read about it, or you take workshops or study, online study, and then you can actually use that and go, right, okay, this now is not a horrible challenge. I can do this. I feel like I can enjoy what I'm doing. And it's all about enjoying what you're doing, getting that sense of fulfillment, and that's a real deep sense of fulfillment rather than just, hey, I've done it. It's like I've really done something, I've really achieved something.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, what a,
spiritually,
mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
spiritually is, I don't think many people, not enough people ask why they're doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people can be on autopilot. So it's a case of, what do I want? Really ask yourself that question. Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is your why
Deeper
for
answer to
whether
that.
it's your profession?
Mm-hmm.
Say
Well,
that again?
the deeper answer to that question, to
Yeah,
know why you're here, why you're doing this, all the whys
absolutely.
about
Yeah,
what you're busy about. And your framework is such a powerful and holistic one. It's like fine-tuning a high-performance engine. You need the right balance of fuel, maintenance, and alignment. And
exactly.
I like what you said earlier, Dr. Oludunmi. Ask someone to help you if you think the challenge is too much for you. I mean, there's nothing wrong about asking for help, right?
No, absolutely. And I think a lot of people get kind of in the high performance space think I can just do it myself. I'll just figure it out. I'll work
Yeah.
it out. And a lot of the time, just go and ask, just go and say, I don't know.
Yeah, and
Please
it's
help me.
okay.
Be vulnerable. People are
Yeah.
happy to help, happy to guide you in the right books, the right study, so you don't have to kind of burden everything, it doesn't all have to be on you. And,
Uh-huh.
the whole world needs me like this. And that's not the case.
Yeah, and it doesn't make you less of a person if you do so.
Not at all. Not at
Uh-huh.
all.
And I'd like to highlight that your work goes beyond one-on-one coaching, like the one we're having today. You're a speaker, a podcast host, and a thought leader. And I know we've touched on a bit about this before, but could you tell our audience what your bigger mission is and how can they connect with you to learn more?
Well, my theory has always been, and the more and more I'm connecting with other people who are real visionaries and who are saying the same thing, that our energy needs to be coherent, our whole physical energy, our energetic bodies, our spirit needs to be all in alignment. So at the moment, we're going through history where everything's very chaotic. So it's very disruptive to our energy. So we've got to really now concentrate on getting our energies back into alignment, into coherence, because when energy becomes coherent, within our bodies, then everything becomes a little bit easier. We become clearer, happier, more joyful. We're well physically, mentally, spiritually. So for me, it's talking about energy and energy work and how to be able to achieve that with simple methods, simple techniques, whether, I'd love to go to schools, for instance, and teach energy work and how to create boundaries and how to create balance and peace within ourselves so that we can do more, how to connect with people in a very healthy way, how to, be joyful with just being who you are. That's all energy work and all energy techniques, energy modalities. I'd like to take that into hospitals, for instance, and help patients, and how patients can help themselves get well. Because when our bodies are in peace and when our energy is in coherence, we heal.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when we're in a state of balance, we heal, whether it's mentally, physically, psychologically. So we can take this into every aspect of our life. But more and more people are starting to wake up to the fact that we are energy, frequency, and vibration. There's
Mhm.
lots of frequency devices now out there in the health space. We call it digital health tech, which uses frequency and vibration. So it's now out there technologically, which is what I use. I use a lot of technical devices for energy healing, like the One System or the Dita Ellis device, and they all pick up all sorts of frequencies and balance it out. So it's very, very much an emerging market is
Mhm.
digital health tech, but we can also do kind of our own physical movements to help, balance our energy.
Mhm.
And this is what I'd love to teach within schools, within hospitals, within corporates, and get it out there in a bigger
Yes.
way. But
Okay.
people are actually now starting to kind of go, oh, right, there's this
Mhm.
technology. And I think, science and spirituality are now starting to do this.
Mhm.
They're starting to meet. So the science is now showing you that things like Reiki or have you heard of Reiki? Like
Yes.
Reiki, there's other kind of other healings like that that create energy balances. We now
Yes.
have devices that do similar things now,
Mhm.
and they're in mainstream, they're in the mainstream.
Mhm. Yes, doctor.
So this is the start of something really wonderful.
I'm sure. Well, that's perfect. So they can they connect with you through LinkedIn if they want to learn more?
They can do, yeah, they can connect through
Yes.
LinkedIn or www.drolabami.com.
Perfect. Dr. Olabunmi, I was thinking maybe we should change your title to Energy Manager because that's what you just do, particularly to those high achievers
Energy
who
Queen.
need that balance, right?
Very much so. Very much
And
so. Because high performers will always be high performers. It doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
we want them to be at their best and at their optimal and not burn out and not, the world needs, visionaries, creatives, people are passionate about what they do. And let's keep us all at tip top.
Yes, and Dr. Olabunmi, this has been an absolute gem of conversation in sustainable
Thank you.
success. You've flipped the script on hustle culture and shown us that peak performance is not only about pushing harder, but also flowing smarter and balancing your energy out. So thank you
Yeah.
so much once again for sharing your wisdom and passion with our community and proving that success and sanity can coexist.
It certainly can.
Yes. So you're now an energy manager.
Thank you.
Well, if you guys are one of those who feel stuck in the grind, this is your wake up call. Dr. Olabunmi's 7-step recovery code system is the transformative approach that might work for you. Don't forget to connect with her, follow her work, and take that first step toward a healthier, more energized version of yourself. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you catch more of our episodes with Dr. Olabunmi soon. And for the love of all things productive, take a strategic break once in a while because everyone deserves it. This has been your host,
Absolutely.
Smile. Thank you. This has been your host,
Thank
Smile.
you.
Stay focused and inspired with X Rays.